First agenda item is approval of the meeting minutes.
May I add two
Um,
agenda items, Margaret?
Uh, can we? Sure. So
Yes,
we're gonna have to vote on them.
okay. Um, One is that according to the minutes, we did not approve the minutes of the February 2nd meeting, and that those would be on the next meeting's agenda for approval. And then the second item, I was just ask if all are willing to have a moment of silence in Todd's memory to start the meeting.
Second those motions.
Okay. So I heard a second, so yep, would second. Um, I don't know that we have the February 2nd meeting minutes available tonight.
No, you don't. That's my fault.
So they're going to need to wait until the
Yeah,
meeting in
September.
September.
Yep. I've already made a note on my to-do list.
And I certainly was going to, as soon as we got through the meeting minutes from April, was going to acknowledge Todd. So my question is, do we need an agenda item to acknowledge Todd, or do we handle that under one of the existing agenda items?
I would put it in new correspondence and communication.
Yeah, that's where I was thinking of doing it.
Okay. If you're okay, I'll withdraw my second. Being that we're gonna do this anyways.
Yep. Maria, you okay with that? So we'll
Yes,
do
I
the
am.
September.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. So the April 5th meeting minutes. Can I get a motion to approve the meetings as submitted?
I motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
No.
Any comments?
Will that include the February 2nd, or we'll do that in September?
We'll do that in September.
Yeah. This is the April 5th one.
April 5th one alone.
Okay.
Any comments, thoughts?
No.
If not, all those in favor of approving the minutes from April 5th?
Aye.
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 I think that's everybody. So minutes approved. Thank you very much. Unanimous. Okay. Next item on the agenda, any citizens petitions and comments? We had any comments from our neighbors?
Yes.
Okay.
We've had a comment from one neighbor just sharing incidents when their house is hit with golf balls. We did plant 4 trees along the property line to begin to replace the trees that had previously been removed because a neighbor was concerned about the condition of the trees. We ended up having to remove all of the trees. First go round planted, I don't know, eight trees, I think, and
Oh, no.
4 of those didn't make it. So last week we replanted 4 trees to replace those. We've also set up a temporary tee box for the green tees. We've moved the location to kind of the other side of the course, or I'm sorry, the other side of the fairway to try to keep people from um, reduce the number of times that house may get hit. Um, there was also a request to move the blue and white tee box back, but Eric's explained we can't do that because we would end up having to make the previous hole a par three. So we've taken what steps we can take at this point.
Which tee is this, Mark?
This is the 11th.
Ah, okay.
So the green teas were moved.
Yeah.
Yeah, we set up a temporary, um, it's kind of on the other side of the 11th fairway.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of ladies not happy. Let's put it that way. They feel kind of, of course, it's, not just for ladies, but of course, it's all ladies and then senior men, right? That are, I think it's over 70. Um, and they're kind of feel singled out. Why us? Why not the whites? Because the whites and greens are on the same elevated box, right? And I mean,
Because I don't
it's
think it's the women who are hitting the houses.
no, that's what they complain about. That's what the women say.
And I agree. I've heard the same also. We're not happy with where the green tea's been moved for many reasons.
Because there aren't many women who are hitting the ball in the air the distance of that house.
Yeah,
The ball's on the ground by the time it gets to that house.
yeah,
The men are hitting the ball in the air at the distance of that house. They're on the same tee box, so perhaps it would have made sense to move the whites over to the other side. I mean, that's a short hole anyway.
yeah.
So
All right. Well, that I can speak to Eric about that also, and then we can upset all the men players, and we'll be perfect. Everyone will be unhappy.
yeah, no, it doesn't make I don't think you're gonna impact a lot of change by moving the green tees to the other side. Because the people who are hitting the off the green tees are not gonna be in the air at that house.
Yeah, I would agree. I have not seen too many women who can hit that distance, carry that distance with their driver.
What does the white and the green mean? I'm just not that familiar.
White is for men.
Well,
Oh.
no. It's so gender neutral. So it's
Oh,
yeah. So on a golf course, you typically have a setup where you have forward tees, middle tees, and back tees to
Got it.
play three kind of different differences, typically based on your level of play. And so the better players will play from the back tee so that they can play a longer course. The middle tees are for the kind of the average golfer play a kind of a middle distance, and then the forward tees a shorter course for the players who are maybe not as good a or shorter hitters basically in the world. And so on that particular hole, the 11th hole, the shorter hitters and the middle hitters are playing about the same distance because it is a short hole. It's by design a shorter hole. Uh, so that's why
Would the white
that's
tees be that's like maybe the furthest back and then the green in the middle? Is that the colors?
actually there's blue tees. So the blue tees are the furthest back. They're back
Okay,
by about 40 yards on that hole. And then there's another tee box about 40 yards ahead of that where the green and the white tees
got it.
typically sit.
Okay. Cool.
then in that box, there's not much of a distance between the white and the green.
No, it's about the same distance on that hole.
So
And
no,
people know where they play. They know already.
Yeah, they do.
They go,
They do.
I'm comfortable here, I'm comfortable there. So
and
Correct.
that's why the women are upset, because majority of the women play the green. And so
Right.
the green is moved now. Some of the senior men will play the green, or
Mhm.
people who are just starting out will play green regardless of gender. But targeting just the green is really not solving the problem, because majority play the white.
got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
The majority of people, yeah, playing the greens are not going to be able to carry the ball to that house.
So please share with women golfers that we were not singling them out. This
Well,
was the suggestion that was offered to me, and that's what we went with. So I'll talk to Eric about moving the white markers, and I'm sure, well, we'll have to see. Uh, we'll have to see what happens.
Did they move them forward? Not just to the
yes,
side?
yes, forward and to the right.
How far forward?
Oh,
Oh,
what would you
30
say, Marie?
yards, maybe?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they're not going to be able to move the whites forward. Well, I guess they could.
as long
Then-
as I think it's under 40, no, 100 yards. You can move, I guess I looked up USGA and you can move tees up to
Okay,
100 yards
there you go.
collectively on all the holes
Yeah,
without
well, you can think of it
jeopardizing
as a
USGA.
compliment. They thought it was the
Well-
women who were hitting the house.
It's not the women.
Yeah, they didn't take it that way.
No, apparently.
It ain't one thing, it's another. So
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I think if you move the white tees there, they're probably gonna green it.
Well, isn't that a good thing then?
Well, no, that would be that would no, they wouldn't be able to do that. That would be against their, like if they're playing in a tournament or they're playing, that would be against their rules.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So in
it's
other
just like
words-
playing a temporary tee from their white tee would be, it'd be a temporary tee to be part of their setup.
Is there any location between the blue and the white, pushing the white back?
No,
20 yards, it's on a
that's a big
slope, I know,
ditch.
but there's a way to cut into it and correct that.
So in other words, there's no good solution.
No, there's no good solution
There we
until those
go.
trees grow up or putting a net up.
Where the bench and the trash bins are on the right side of that,
Yeah, that would be the other
that would be
solution.
where the white could go. It doesn't, a little bit pushed out to the right, further right.
Mhm.
That might be a better solution than finding something between the blue and the white, because there's no room there.
Yeah, and that's what they did with the greens. So it's but more forward.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
the
that
white
same,
would be
yeah.
in parallel to where it currently is, but beyond the bench and the trash can.
Yep, yep. I mean, moving it to the right, definitely, I think initially it does make the balls go to the right. So I think it did accomplish that. Um, just saying.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing is, that there's a road, right? There's a road in front of his house. There are those houses, and it is staked out of bounds. So no one wants to go to the left because that's out of bounds. You get penalty, right? Penalized, right?
You get
Stroke.
penalized for it.
So no one's trying to do that. It's just the long hitters that don't have control over their direction are the ones that are definitely hitting over there. Women aren't hitting over there frequently. Out of
And
bounds.
if I do, I put it in his plant bed. That's typically where my balls get lost.
Yeah.
Right. We just roll across that little street.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Everywhere.
Right into that little plant bed. It's beautiful flowers, but
Yeah.
that's where I get lost. Okay. Perfect. But thanks for that, Mark. All right. Anything else?
No. Yeah, well, I don't know, I have an update on the golf software, but that doesn't really fall under citizens petitions and comments. I guess that's more the golf course report.
Yep, golf course
Yeah.
report.
Yep.
Where does my report fall? From women's.
Next.
Okay,
New
thank you.
correspondence.
All right.
All right, new correspondence. Marie, you want to bring this up or you want me to cover it? The acknowledgement of Todd's passing. All right. So I think we do, rightfully so, need to acknowledge Todd's passing. I think after 20 plus years as the PGA professional at the golf course in his time there running things kind of a sudden and sad way for it to end. I think everybody in the community was shocked and deeply saddened by his passing, and just want to acknowledge that he will be very much so missed, and by everybody in the golfing community here in Groton, and just truly very, very sad that it occurred in such a way. And his contributions to the golf course over time need to be acknowledged. For sure. I don't know if anybody wants to say anything else.
Yeah, I echo what you said, Margaret. I also feel he was just way too young. And the obituary that his daughter wrote shed so much light on who he was in his life and what he had contributed and done over the years. And it kind of made me realize that how little we actually knew of all that he had done in his life. So it's sort of a reminder of how, superficially we tend to know people until they pass, sadly. So
Yeah.
Went to the service and the service was very beautiful.
Nice.
It was beautiful.
I'd like to say that he was a very talented man and didn't wear it on his sleeve. I got to know him. He was a man of many gifts, and he cared about his golf community. We were his community, and that really made him special to me, that he cared so much for his golfers and tried to do the right thing by us.
I'd agree. Yeah.
I have a little story. So the day before, I think it was maybe 2 days before he passed, him and I were chatting in the clubhouse and the pro shop there. And he says, I was telling him that, the SWGA has grown and we have more members. And, there was another guy, Johnny, was there, and he goes, well, we have 91 members in the men's league. And I'm like, well, we have 68. And I said, he's, and he says, well, Madeline. And, we were kind of debating whether that was good or bad. And he goes, well, only 15% women golf. And I said, really? Only 15%? That's such a small percentage of women compared to men. And he said, yes. I said, oh, well, I'm not going to fact check you, Todd, because you're always right. I mean, he's just so smart, right? But he knew that just off the top of his head, and we chuckled about it. And yeah, he's a bright guy. And he loved us too. I mean, he loved us women. He supported us women quite a bit. So yeah.
Yeah. Very sad.
And I just want to say too, Mark, it was really nice that Karen was able to set up in the community center there, the senior center, and she did that for 2 days selling, and just that was just really a great opportunity for her to, to get rid of all that, merchandise, and um, you know, everyone was there to support her, and it was just a good closure for that too. So that was really nice of you and the town to do that, to support her in that way.
Yeah, and she did share that, how kind all the golfers that came in. Um, yeah, I think it was, um, I think everyone helped make a difficult time for her perhaps a little bit easier, just with all their understanding and their kindness and what they had to say. And yeah, and I went there both days, and it sounded like Monday there was a pretty significant turnout. There was like a line of people to get in on Monday, and I've only heard from, I think, one or two golfers that weren't able to make it, and have, at Karen's request, just forwarded those emails to her so that she can try to work out that with those golfers that weren't able to, at that time, kind of work out the credit.
Perfect. Just on a quick side note, Gary would like to be promoted.
Oh, I tried him earlier and he declined.
There we go.
I didn't know him at all, so it wasn't really somebody to interact with. But I did learn through the budget process that his focus was on the customer. That's where he seemed to be, that he had the customer's interest or the golfer's interest, at heart at best. So that's where I seem to kind of, but I've only ever been in a council meeting with him, so I didn't
Yeah.
really ever get to know him. So
That was definitely his priority.
yep. Mark, Eric wants to speak.
I think
Well,
Gary had his hand up to try and join the meeting.
Yeah, as a panelist, he can just unmute himself and speak.
Okay,
Yeah.
hello.
Yep. Good evening.
Am I making noise now?
No,
You
your
are
hand is
making
just up.
noise.
Yep. Now that you're in, you may want to pull your hand down.
Okay, I can do that.
There you go.
I'm out and about in Rhode Island and Connecticut, and I was at the Wilcox Tavern once, and for some reason the Shinnecock Golf Course came up, and the person was just raving about Todd. And otherwise, I hear about Donald Ross and Turtleback Greens, but it's the only time I heard, no time as someone mentioned by name, they talked about Todd.
Hmm. Well, Donald Ross has been making a name for himself. If you've watched any golf on television over the last couple of weeks, they seem to be on a run of Donald Ross courses. The LPGA Tour and the PGA Tour. So that's been kind of interesting. All right. Do we want to give Casey a second to join, or do we want to get started on? But thank you all for those comments. And again,
Well, thank you for adding it to the agenda, Margaret. I appreciate that.
of course, no, it was definitely going to be mentioned during this
Thank
part
you.
of it. Actually, Madeline, your report, I think, before we move
Okay.
on from new correspondence and communications, and then anybody
Okay.
else.
All right, so the Women's Golf League began on May 5th. We have 68 members. We've welcomed 20 new members this year, resulting in a net gain of 11 members overall. Our ambassadors have been actively engaged in onboarding and welcoming these new participants to the league. And I really credit it to Denise, who posted it on Facebook. I've gotten every day, it seemed like the month of April, I was getting an email from someone interested, and most of them said that they saw it on Facebook. There were always a few that called the pro shop, and we have a bulletin board there. So put a welcome letter there with my name and my phone number and email. So it was just really nice. So to get that many new members is overwhelmingly positive. On May 19th, we held our opening event, and that features a round of golf followed by a pizza party. And that event was well attended and provided a great opportunity for members to reconnect and certainly to welcome our newest golfers. What's new this year is our participation in the Shoreline Interclub Golf Competition, and this is a monthly match play competition that runs from May through September. So it's 5 months. It brings together teams from Old Lyme Country Club, Clinton Country Club, Stonington Country Club, Great Neck Country Club, and Pequot Golf Course. So we're actually the 6th member joining the this Shoreline Interclub Golf, and it's been around for a very long time. And what happens is we've been given a bye this year. So because there's 6 courses, 5 months, we do not need to host, which the host course organizes the pairings, and they provide greens fees for approximately 30 visiting players. And so we're taking it this year as a pilot participation year. But this competition certainly offers a great opportunity for our members to experience competitive match play and build relationships with golfers from our neighboring clubs. If the program proves to be successful this year, I do intend to present a proposal to certainly the Shinnecock to host the event in June of 2027. And I've talked to the other captains about June because June is Women's Month, and so that might make it certainly a great opportunity for that. Finally, throughout the month of June, our SWGA members are encouraging guests to play the course as part of the women's golf guest promotion. And we certainly hope this initiative will increase our participation in our league and generate some interest in course membership. So that's all I have. Any questions?
So, Madeline, the 30 members or so playing the tournament at Shenny next year, are they all other course members coming
Correct.
into? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So you each course sends 6 members.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And
So
then
6 times, 5 is 30. Yep.
30.
Mhm.
Okay. And then how many of our members will be playing?
6. Yeah.
6 also.
6.
Okay.
Yeah. There's
So
36. Yep.
that costs 36. Okay. Got it. Sounds good.
Thank you.
And I think that for me, the thing that's kind of interesting about it is it's not for the better golfer. It's actually for a mid-range golfer to participate, which I think makes it really attractive for
Yes.
women golfers. So there's a handicap range involved here. It's
Right.
perfect. So it's encouraging a lot of women to get involved, even though it's limited to 6. But I imagine those 6 kind of rotate through
Yes.
through the different clubs. So it's not
Yes.
probably the same 6 that are playing out of each club.
Right. Yeah, I've taken it on as the captain for Shinnecock this year. So each course, has a captain that kind of organizes it. So Yeah, and I would say I think it's 55% of our membership is in that range, though you can play out of that range, but not far out of the range, just for handicapping reasons. But yeah, it is great opportunity because I think some of the tournaments that we run, is definitely for the lower handicappers and the mid handicappers, but this is really, the lower handicappers tend to win most of the tournaments that we run. So I would say so. This is it's just another opportunity. It's fun.
Great. All right. Any other correspondence, communications, questions? Okay, with that, we want to move on to the golf course report, Mark? Or do you want to wait for,
No, we can get started.
okay,
Yeah. Golf course report. The revenue report for March and April was included in the agenda packet. We do have 49 new members, 30 non-resident and 19 resident. The total number of season pass holders fluctuates daily because the way it's set up is when you sign up, it's good for a year. So we've just started a new month. I don't have a report from the number of passes that expired in May and how many of those have not signed up. I don't have that information yet. So the number, like I said, it kind of changes day to day as people come in. Um, I think the ad that we did, hopefully everybody saw that, encouraged golfers to at least give Shinnecosta a look. And, that was a paid advertisement. We spent under $35. Total ad view was 4,700 and clicks to shinneygolf.com was 93. So overall, it was a pretty inexpensive ad for us to run, given the number of people that viewed it and those that took that step further to click on the website. I will tell you the number of tournaments that we're hosting is up. Right now, we're at 20 tournaments. Historically, we've been at 13 to 15. So I think the new rates, there was concern that the rates that we were charging were going to price us out of the tournament market. Does not seem to be coming true. So we have a lot of returning tournaments and picked up some new ones also. As far as the Golf Pro and the Pro Shop, right now the HR director has a draft job description. The previous job description hadn't been updated, I think, since 2012. And so we've updated that. Both the HR director and town manager have a proposal or have kind of an informational document on some of the pro shop operations, the different models that are out there, the pluses and minuses to those. And I expect that we'll be having a discussion. I'll be having a discussion with them on both of those items, if not this week, certainly next week. As everybody's aware, the pro shop was cleaned out. along with the office. Public Works has come in and they've repainted the office, all the walls and the ceiling. The next step is to repaint the floor. And then IT is coming in to try to, if you've ever stepped back into Todd's office, there was a jumble of wires and it looked like a spider's web. And so I've asked them to try to clean that up. The software training begins next Monday, and it's in person, which I think the staff really feel that's a positive thing versus trying to do it, through a Zoom meeting. The go live date for the new software is 6/15, so that's 2 weeks from today. Everybody that has an email address that's in the database should expect an email probably coming from, well, it will be written by me. It won't necessarily be coming from me, but it will be information on how to set up an account with the new software. And I suspect that will be going out probably on the 9th. To give people plenty of time to set up their account and begin making booking tee times. And right now, we've named Casey as the interim golf pro, and he's not surprisingly, taken on all of those responsibilities. Every time I go in to check with him, Casey, we got to do this. Mark, I've already done that. So that's been
Can you
refreshing.
promote Casey?
Oh, yeah, I just saw him pop up. Okay. Hopefully he didn't hear me say glowing things about him. No, don't want it to go to his head.
Oh, please repeat it.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's joining us. He's sitting in his car, joining us by phone. But he's not driving. Or if he is, don't tell me about it, Casey. I don't want to know.
He's on mute.
He's on mute. He's probably done.
Okay.
Mark, what was the company you eventually went with for the
Oh,
software?
Club Profit.
Club Profit. Okay.
Yep. And one of the nice things about that is Casey, who was a golf pro at another course, used Club Profit when he was there. So he's familiar with it. Obviously, there's been some changes since his time here at Shinnecock, but when we went through the demonstration, there was a lot of things that he was familiar with as far as how the software is set up.
Mark, for the minutes,
Yes.
just got a question at the start of your report. You said there were
Sure.
49 new members,
49 new
non-residents,
members, yes.
19 residents. Are those
Yes.
people who are new first time, or are some of them renewing their membership?
No, those would be new first time.
New first time, so they're not renewers. Okay, great. Thank you. I just want to put that in the minutes.
Just through
Yes.
April, so right?
I don't know. Casey, he gave me that report.
Or is that through today?
No, that's not through today. It might be through the first 3 weeks of May.
Okay.
So is that included in the package? I only saw March and April.
No, it's not. I've
Okay,
just
so this
added
is-
that.
No, got it.
I added that to the report.
Yeah, okay. Now, just looking at the numbers for March and April, overall in April, we have about 26% less season pass holders compared to last year this time. So there's some attrition, some looking at, adult unlimited, we were at 75 last year at the end of April. But this year we're 65.
The town council vote wasn't until April 21st.
No, that must have been March 20. Oh, was it as late as
It
April?
wasn't until April. We got postponed because of
Oh,
um,
wow.
the quorum.
Okay.
Yeah, it was April.
Oh, okay.
So
So
we weren't selling in April.
yeah, so the main numbers will help us see whether we are, but you
Yeah.
know, the revenue numbers are higher than last year this time.
Right.
But yeah, the May report. And Casey, do you have a sense of where we stand in May?
Yeah, one second. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just trying to get the folder out. So every day, I mean, I'm getting one or two, seems like new members joining that I've never met before who are coming back because they found out we're taking new memberships this year.
Mhm.
So I just looked actually as of this afternoon and, how many more new ones? I think I gave that to you last week, Mark. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah.
So since I think it was last Wednesday, I gave that to you. I've had 6 more new members join since then. So that's what, like one a day, it looks like we're doing right now at this time of the year. Obviously, that's gonna lessen as the summer goes through, but a lot of people, this is the beginning of their golf season, and that's what I'm seeing right now, at least.
So if the end of April was around 201, we get our 49 plus 6, that's 255, 266. So we're approaching last year's numbers.
Yes.
It'd be interesting to see, you know, when we get the May report to see if because it was concern legitimate that increasing the rates, especially for season passes, will we end up losing? I'd be curious to see if we did. There's natural attrition, but did we have dramatic loss or not?
I think we're okay.
Well, I just had a new season pass holder join today and told me he's looked at prices all around and he was going to join Norwich, but they were astronomical because he is an associate. He just joined today as an associate and he told me it's the best deal around. That's why he came here. That's what he told me today. Yeah.
Now we're still the best deal around.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great. Thank you,
Yep.
Casey.
No problem.
Ursula, do you have, I noticed at the bottom of both of these reports, there's an average revenue per round. And in April, it was 41 and the other one's 33. Is there a sort of an average number per round, for the whole year that you might know of off the top of your head?
I don't, but we should take a look at that. The problem with that, Bruce, was that we don't know who's playing, right? And this is something Casey and I had a conversation about. So an adult unlimited playing many more rounds will drop that number down,
Mhm.
versus if an adult unlimited playing fewer rounds raises that number up. So we do need to kind of understand who's playing, at what rate are they playing, and how often are they playing. Then
Got it.
start to look at those numbers.
I was just intrigued by the report that Mark includes at the bottom of the agenda, and one of them it says to not have any different distinguished differences. I don't know what to call it. Everybody plays the same. You just play a number, and I just wondered if what that number would be. If you plugged it back into all our numbers, just as a thought exercise, what it would mean. Just
Yeah.
are you more, are you less, or just I don't even know where that sits, but I just thought that was an interesting idea.
So Bruce, this is where the new software is going to start to help us, is we're going to actually be able to collect the information at that level of detail.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not recommending do that. I just thought
No,
it's an
we've
interesting.
been looking for it.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of interesting ideas in that report, and I think we'll probably be discussing it at some point here, but I just was intrigued. That's all.
Yeah, it is an interesting report, and I think we should actually talk about it not just today, but maybe continue the conversation over the next few months.
Yeah.
Because some of it is very relevant. Other things we really need to consider in the context of the community that we live in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that would come up as an issue. And I'm not sure how to address that issue of differences, but it was just an interesting, it simplifies the whole process if you just say it's cost this much. So,
Yeah.
you know, I'm sure, but it'll be good to have that information coming from the new software where we can actually think about stuff like that. So,
Yeah. And Mark, if I could have the details around this report, like you have shared with me in the past, I can start adding that to our current year and close it out in June to see what the numbers look like.
Oh, okay. So you're asking for the May and June
Yeah.
revenue reports when they're done.
Yeah, April, May, and June, because I don't have those.
Oh, okay. You want the Excel
Sorry.
version.
Yes, March,
Yeah.
April, May, June. I don't have the March either.
Okay.
Yep. Yes, the Excel version, please.
Okay. And one of the other things that we're doing is season pass holders will be given, we're going to be generating a card for them with a barcode. So when they go to play, they can just scan the barcode and that will automatically record, it gets registered as John Smith, who is an adult unlimited. And so we'll be able to keep track of, and be able to produce reports telling us the total number of times he's played during the course of the year and all of the different categories, rather than just kind of hitting a hot button that says, you know, somebody played a round of golf, but we don't know who it was.
That's excellent. Love it.
do you have a Mark, do you have a sense that there's some sort of power users in here that really,
Yes.
play more than everybody else?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Their probably average cost per round is
15.
yeah, I was going to say $15 a round, maybe.
Hmm.
I knew of somebody who's not a member right now. He had told me that his average cost was $5 per round.
Yeah. So
But when we gleaned some data a couple of years ago during the assessment, there were people who were at the 15 mark,
yeah.
and not a few.
It's a
I mean,
badge of,
not a
it's a
small.
it's a badge of honor for some of them to say they played, so many rounds and it cost them so much to play. They keep track of that, believe it or not.
Yeah.
It's like the skiers that
Right.
ski every single round every day. So,
Yeah.
I mean, part of the reason I asked is I remember reading years ago about McDonald's and something like 80% of their revenue comes from the 20% power eaters
Oh, yeah.
who eat. And there's no discount. They just come in and they just consume enormous quantities of food. And, that's another way that's probably every restaurant is sort of like that, but
Yeah.
that's,
Well, I think that's an interesting, it's interesting data to collect. I think in the bigger picture of Parks and Rec, we probably have power users in other facilities like Thrive 55 or people who use certain parks more than others. And so I would just feel we shouldn't just target one aspect of Park and Rec if we are doing that. I think it's good data to have, but I think we're going to see power users, maybe pickleball power users and others who find their niche in Park and Rec, and I don't think that's a bad thing. They're not using
yeah, no, I don't think so
all
either.
the assets of Park and Rec, but they found the one that truly gives them their recreation and activities. Try
Yeah,
to
I
keep that
think
in mind.
the difference is the power users in recreation are paying for every single class that they take. So it isn't the more classes they take, it's the classes don't cost them less per class. So the difference between a season pass holder and somebody in a recreation program is, like I said, you know, the more they use the service, it doesn't necessarily cost them less, where it does with golf. That's the difference.
That's true. I would also want us to look at the family memberships, because I know in my own situation, I have a family membership, but I use the course more than my husband does. So I mean that there's a kind of a give and take there.
Yeah.
So that would be part of the analysis, I would say.
Yeah, I think without numbers, it's hard to know and hard to make decisions on
Mhm.
where the golf course needs to make adjustments or not.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, we need to make sure the course can sustain itself. So
Correct.
we manage it. And without data, we're just blindly making changes.
I did think it was interesting though in that report. It talked about the average amount the average golf course makes, and it's not that different than where we are, where we actually sit. It's like 1.7 million, and we're sort of in that same range, close enough.
Mhm.
So I just thought that was kind of interesting also. So
Yeah, it's good to know.
Well, can I
Yeah.
say one thing since we've made the changes, especially in our price structure this year? I'm here almost every day or, pretty much 6 days a week. And I have not heard one complaint about the prices, which is a little bit shocking because of the economy right now. But I'm surprised that people are saying, oh, what a good deal, especially the New Yorkers, Massachusetts. But I was really thought we might get some pushback with the price, but I have not heard any pushback about prices whatsoever. So I think you guys hit the mark when you set the prices for this year.
I would agree with that. I haven't had anybody come up to me either on the
Yeah,
pricing. And I did last year, definitely people came up to me,
right.
as a counselor talking about the pricing before forward pricing, and it was very quiet this year.
Yeah.
So, and
Yep.
so I think people understood kind of where it seemed to be like they understood that it was okay.
Right. Yep.
So because they're not shy about telling us.
No, and I think
They are
we did
not.
a better job this year making our case.
Yes.
I've
I
heard
understand.
some complaints about the increase of the carts, but when I say, well, they're gas carts and the price of gas, and then they, oh, I understand. So I think we were kind of futuristic, increasing the cart price, not knowing at the time that the price of gas would be so, unfortunately, astronomically high.
I know, I agree.
A good measure
Yeah,
to offset that.
if we had not raised the price of the cart, we would have been losing money on this with the prices going up. And we didn't, as you said, we didn't know that. And I'm glad that stuck, that we could continue with that increase.
Mhm.
I also think last year this committee probably got people to think about the fact that the prices may go up. And so that may have made the path a little easier this year to actually implement that. Because last year also there was an increase. It wasn't as much as it was this year.
Right.
Yeah. And
You
that
know
was
what?
the first big increase last year in a long time. It's pre-COVID.
Could we add into the report the cart information? I just noticed there is no. Is there? Oh,
It
there is
actually
one.
is
Oh, there is
there.
cart. It's down
Yeah,
here.
cart revenue is
It
there.
does. It doesn't have cart. How many rounds that you use that people did?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
it
breakdown of the
does.
carts.
It does up at the top. Says cart
Oh,
rentals.
15, 1100. Okay, I see it. I
Yeah,
see it now. Okay. I was thinking it was a separate line. You've incorporated it. Okay. So it's there. All right.
And the other thing I would say for this year is the weather's not been conducive to a lot of people getting out there. It's been kind of nasty, in my opinion. I mean, not that I'm playing right now because I'm on the injured list, but It's been kind of nasty out there.
I would say we've had maybe 4 or 5 nice days where they get wear just their golf shirt and shorts. Other than that, it's been pullovers and parkas.
Yeah. And hopefully by August it'll warm up.
I hope it's much earlier than August,
I
Margaret.
agree.
Mark, do you have a sense, or Casey, on how? And I know the town has a fuel arrangement. You know, we have they buy out sort of into the future with fuel, but um, has the fuel costs gone up, affected things much in terms of just the fuel on the golf course and the fuel in the carts?
Uh, uh, the purchasing agent, they negotiated a deal. Uh, I'm I'm not even sure how many months ago, but the deal that we negotiated this year was, I think the gas price was less than what it was last year, so it must have been prior to 3 months ago. I mean, it could have happened back in January, and I think that's one of the reasons that we saw some of the line items in the golf course, or particularly the utilities, which is I think where the fuel gets charged to, was actually lower. So we negotiated a really good deal. And I think that's done on an annual basis. So at some point, um, in November, December, they'll probably will start negotiating because we need to know that price needs to be set because that impacts, um, public works, because the fuel costs, with the exception of the golf course, for all the fleet vehicles comes out of public works.
Got it.
So that's an important number that we have to have prior to the budget being set. So I imagine sometime in the fall is that when those negotiations take place. Um, and depending on how things develop in the world, and where we are come October or November, we may end up seeing a significant increase um, for the cost per gallon for gas and diesel uh, next year.
Got it. Okay.
If I could just add, if we're still on the golf course report, I would just like to thank RTM and counselors and everyone else, Madeline who spoke, Cindy Lathoff, those who wrote letters, that we will have now a full flush restroom on hole number 8. So that was long in coming, and just really, it's a lot of cheers to that, and a lot of appreciation that the town's moving forward on it.
I like to buy bathrooms.
And I think the process of getting the bathroom built, I think will go much quicker because the plans have already been designed. And, one of the reasons that we had to go out, we had to request more money was because the first round of quotes were beyond what was budgeted. So we're not starting at zero right now. So we have the design. We can, after July 1st, put the bids out there knowing that we should have enough money based on the bids that came in last time. So the process should be expedited. And I think they've already gone through the permitting process with the city. So I think it won't, and don't hold me to this, but it shouldn't be 2 years to get it built.
That'll be good.
And it has been quite a process. This probably started 6 or 7 years ago.
Excellent. All right, next on the agenda, real quick, so we can get to the big discussion. Marketing report.
Sure. So just to kind of summarize, highlights the men's and women's league annual Scotch foursome game. That post generated the highest overall reach with 9,217 views and 53 engagements. So that was quite a popular post. June is Women's Golf Month. Came in at about 1,200 views with 24 engagements. And then I talked a little bit earlier about the paid advertisement. So, the video, the visual storytelling and photo content remains the most effective communication tools. And leagues, wildlife, traditions, and community activities tends to resonate strongly with followers. So we'll continue to do that. And I'm sure there'll be many more posts this month for National Women's Golf Month.
That's nice. It's nice that Denise came out for the Scotch foursome. I asked if she would come out and take some photos, and she's, and it was a terribly cold, almost rainy, day, and she
Yeah.
was out there all bundled up.
Yeah.
She's wonderful.
Oh,
Can't say enough about her.
she is wonderful indeed.
Sweetheart.
Yes.
Mm.
Yep.
Mark, do you have an Instagram page to go along with the Facebook page? I know you have a Parks and Rec one, but is there
Yeah,
any other asset one?
not for the golf course. And your next question is why?
Yeah, that's my next
And
question.
my, and my answer is, I will talk to Denise about that.
Yeah, it's just Instagram is very, very popular,
Yeah,
especially for this kind of thing. It's popular for everything, but it's a main communication device for an awful lot of stuff that, um, and you can easily link the Instagram to Facebook, so you can just make a post on Instagram, it just goes to Facebook, so it doesn't double your effort. You can keep them, you can do separate, but it's very popular, and it's a great way to get more exposure. And if she's doing the posts anyways, you can just put them on the other place.
right.
And then you can add those little logos on, you know, at the golf course. You can put them different places. You can put them on, um, I don't know what you give people, but um, you can just, put the Instagram logo and stuff, and then people will know that they can go and post.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So,
Is of their day.
yep.
The Wildlife Wednesdays still come in
Oh, yeah. Yep.
very popular.
Yes. Yep. That's one of the, typically that's the highest, um, receives the most views and comments and
Okay. So I think last on our agenda for tonight, next on our agenda is included in the packet was an article on optimizing revenue, some supporting background in it, and just I don't know if you've had a chance to read it. I hope you did, but just trying to kind of have a background discussion, just opening up the discussion before we get into um any of the rates for next year, any of the but doing it now. So just to kind of get the juices flowing and thinking about um just thinking about the revenue going forward for the golf course, and yes, we did kind of hit our mark. I think everybody's right, and I haven't heard any complaints either. In fact, some of the biggest critics from last year have been saying that they've been pretty complimentary this year. So I think that's fairly good. But I do know that like for this year, we did dip into the fund balance to help cover some of the costs, and knowing that we've got some significant projects coming in the future, including things like the irrigation system and some other things that we're going to have to cover. We need to be thinking ahead of how we want to do that as an example, but also just kind of, is this a chance for us to just kind of open up our brains a little bit and think about just maybe are there different models, different ways of looking at how we do this. And so just wanted to put it out there, give us a chance to have a discussion, go away for the summer, and then come back in the fall. And it just kind of think this one through a little bit.
And that's the article that's attached, right?
That is the
I
article
was
that's
getting the
attached from
numbers.
the National Golf Foundation.
Right.
I
Oh, I
thought
thought
it
that
was,
was very interesting.
it was very informative. Thank you, Margaret, for sharing that. My own experience this past weekend, I was in Vermont and my sister's, and where she lives, Shoreham, there's two public golf courses. Both are over 45 minutes away over the golf. And it really brought home reading the article about how rich we are in southeastern Connecticut, having so many opportunities for golf. And I think in light of this article, we have to kind of keep that in mind, that we have incredible competition. From my house, I think there's at least half a dozen golf courses within 20 minutes, and Rhode Island and so forth. So I, as Usha said, we have to look at the community and the realistic where we are and located. But it had some really good information in the article, and I look forward to discussion on it at some point.
Well, tonight's your night.
So I would say, for me, I even want us to step back a bit before thinking about, there's some easy low-hanging fruit, like no show. That's an easy one. But as the article points out, it may be incremental increase. But I think fundamentally for me, the question is, what is our goal? Right? Are we looking to promote more golf in the community in different sectors? Are we looking to increase profit margin? Are we looking to be a golf course that offers a different experience than other golf courses in the area? I think fundamentally we need to think about what our goal is. Once we know that, then I think it makes it easier to say, okay, based on achieving those goals, here are some things we want to take in from this article or brainstorming. And then there are things that would be counterproductive for achieving our goals. But I'm not clear where we stand on that. I know last year, since I'm new, we were really focused on making sure we don't end up in a deep red, and how do we stay competitive while making sure we sustain the golf course. But I think this gives us an opportunity to really think bigger picture. 5 years from now, what do we want this course to stand for? And what are the things we could potentially offer that we don't offer today? Is there a way to grow without them all being season pass holders or greens fees, but are there other things that could be offered? So I'll just pause, saying that to me is the first step.
I liked this line here about the golf courses are only realizing 66% of their potential revenue. So I think there's some good target numbers in here to sort of look at what that would mean. in terms of what could we figure out that where it doesn't necessarily, you're not increasing the rates, but you might be increasing or adding other things that are, so that's, I think, a good item to sort of brainstorm on. Where would you increase the revenue with not necessarily increasing rates? Or how would you might maybe do that? I also thought it was interesting that a lot of the golf courses are so community focused that they don't really see them as profit. This line, profit is not their primary focus. But for us, I think, I'm being new to this, there's a lot of things that you need to do. So rebuilding, there's an irrigation system and there's trap. So that's where the profit goes. It goes into building that fund that improves those things. So I think it should be, how are we looking at that? I think is a really, really key. And then just this sort of list of ideas in here, and not that we do them all, but it was just sort of things to exercise on. Do not sell prepaid cards, no annual memberships, don't base tee times. Some of that would go against the way things have been priced and fits in the community, but it's probably a good exercise to go through and just look at what would it mean if you did something in that way. And um, so I think there's a lot of good stuff in here. Um, and I think having our software up online is going to be very helpful for that, kind of doing some of that analysis. So, but I do think, one of the questions that has sort of come across the council all the times are the no-shows. So maybe there is maybe like here they said charging a non-refundable reservation fee of $10 per player, with a 300-day advance. That seems awful long, but it would, but maybe just what does that mean? Not what does a non-refundable $10, does it mean anything? Maybe that is something that people are willing to just give up $10 if they don't show up. So, but for us, that might be a significant number that
Mhm.
it becomes the greens improvements or an irrigation fee or something. If it's a significant number, maybe it's a way of adding revenue without seemingly doing much. So I think there's lots of good stuff in here. And what is the top tracer? Is that the line? Is that the thing that tracks the balls going? When
Yeah, exactly.
and how would they interact with that? How would a golfer, where would they see that?
You'd almost need a range or a driving range or a simulator or some facility that would allow you to hit full swing shots to be able to do that.
To kind of see what it does. So yeah, I think this is a very good article. So I think this is lots of good stuff in here to think about.
I don't know, Casey, I saw you trying to say something. Either that or somebody made noise behind you.
No, I wasn't saying anything, but yeah, obviously like the shot tracer, we don't have a driving range, so it's kind of hard to use that, obviously.
Yeah.
But no, I was just listening to everybody.
No, I mean, the way I kind of look at it, Usha, is kind of along your lines is, do we need to think about what our goal is and when I think, I mean, what do we need to do or what we'd like to do to maybe improve or maybe improve is not the right word, but what would we want the player experience to be who comes to Shinnecock Golf Course and overall, like just
Right.
coming to the golf course itself, from the time they arrive in the
Hmm.
parking lot to the time they get on the golf course. I mean, we have
Yeah.
a nice short game area. Is there something that we can do maybe to help with, you know, a number of things? And does some of that include, some element that can help with revenue generation? I don't know. I mean, we don't, obviously we're kind of landlocked at the moment, so there's not
Mhm.
a lot of space for a full driving
Right.
range, though. I mean, obviously in the original proposals from last year, some ideas around using that property over between the eighth fairway and the ninth hole.
Right.
You have to do some sort of limited kind of driving range, and obviously it would have to be very limited, but how would that go over? And there could be other things, there's some creativity that could be kind of spelled out, but are there things that we could do or think of that might help with what Bruce, what you're saying, like with potential for additional revenue generation that might help out somebody like you, Casey, with some additional revenue opportunities for teaching. I mean, right now you'd
Mhm.
be limited on property to short game unless
Yeah,
you kind of did some iron stuff down on the other field, and that's not an ideal situation.
no. Well,
But
I mean, yeah, obviously, because the limitation on the land we have, the
yep,
driving range would be very hard to do. And plus, you're looking at if we did something there, you'd have to have extra staffing, which would cost more. You'd
right.
have to buy range balls and obviously maybe some kind of netting along the road, which wouldn't look good. And the people who have the house across the street probably wouldn't like a big net along the road. So there's all kind of limitations and things you got to think about in that aspect of it.
Yeah.
But we do, I think, from my what I'm looking at, what I've seen here all the years I've been here, we need some kind of clear direction on what we want to market this place as. Right now, it's kind of a hodgepodge, and like we have all the history here, and we haven't really tapped into the history aspect of this golf course. But we do need to come up with some kind of clear direction on what we're looking to do for the golf course and obviously what direction we want to go in. It's right now, I don't think there is much of a really good direction far as that, far as what I see.
And I agree. And I think we have an opportunity, a golden opportunity right now to
Yes.
sit back and figure out what that actually looks like and what we want that golfer experience to look like in context
Mhm.
of that history and that, I mean, because I mean, we just have a really good opportunity here. And then I think from there we can start to build on from there what kind of policies we want to put in place,
Right.
revenue, etc. And I think you're absolutely right. I don't think our goal here is to be a profit making machine and
Mhm.
make everybody $1 million a year, etc. But we need to make enough money to be able to run the course and to build this fund balance that makes sure that we can maintain the course to a quality that's going to be part of this user, and I say user experience because I work in the software industry, but the software or not software to maintain that golf course to a um a standard that we want to be able to maintain um over time and have enough in reserves because it's like less than 10 years ago we did have a year where we went really really low, like really low, and I don't know that we want to repeat that again. And so I don't think it's good for the golf course. It's not. And so this last year with the 180,000 potentially going towards supporting kind of the revenue for this year and knowing that next year we're going to have to start rebuilding that fund balance and knowing that that's coming, I think we have to communicate well and make sure that everybody's knowing what's going on. I think to Casey's point, we need to come up with what the vision is and what we want this course to be about and make sure that we're communicating, and people understand where we're headed, get them to help buy into this, that we're trying to enhance that golfer experience and then kind of go from there.
And
I
go ahead.
I was gonna say, I know from my point of view in the council and being the first year trying to help with the rates, sustainability was a primary goal, which is what I was
Right,
trying to do. And when I would talk to other counselors or talk to the people I needed to talk to, it was always about we're doing this for sustainability, that
right.
it needed to support itself. We can't not looking at CIPs, but just the regular golf course needed to sustain itself. And people I think understood that. I think we gave a pretty good message and we told a pretty good story on that.
Mhm.
That's what we're trying to do. And I think we looks like we've kind of succeeded in doing that. Um, I just had just the thought, I had two thoughts. One was do we know the message of the other golf courses that are in our area? Like what is their focus? Where do they look at? What are they trying to get to? It might help us with where we're trying to get to, if we even know that, or if they even have those messages, if they're out there somewhere. Um, And then the second one is, and I don't know, I'm just throwing this out there just because I drive by it all the time. There's the driving range on 184. Is there any hope or any thought that you could do some kind of a joint venture or a relationship with them that we have a driving range, it just doesn't happen to sit at the Shinnecock Golf Course? Maybe there's some way to do a relationship with, another business to say our driving range is over here, and they get a special rate or they do something. I'm just throwing it out there because there is one here, and maybe we could look at them. I'm just thinking of ideas based on this article, and everything should be on the table, and you can tell me that's a terrible idea, or it's like, I hadn't thought about that. So
Well, I've got a really good relationship with everybody down at the driving range on 184. Obviously, that's the closest one we have right now. But yeah, maybe something like, if you're a season pass holder at Shinnecock, maybe a reduced rate on range balls would be a good idea. And I don't know why they would not be favored to that, because obviously it brings more business to them. And obviously, as a season pass holder here, I can go down there and get a reduced price on buckets of range balls just because I'm a season pass holder at Shinnecock. So that's a great idea. I've never thought about that, but like I said, I have a good relationship with a couple of the guys down there, and I could actually
Yeah.
bring that up and see what they say about that.
cool. All right, great,
Yeah.
cool, very good. I think it's just, and that's just being creative. What else do we have around here where we can enhance the user experience? I mean, something like that we're not increasing any cost. It's just a relationship.
Right.
And
Yeah, like for as a season pass holder, like on maybe next year's application, if we end up doing that and it works out, we could actually put that on the application. It could be another reason someone might join here as opposed to somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's a great idea. I can
okay.
ask if you guys want me to pursue that, I could definitely talk to them down there and see if there's any kind of way to do that.
It sounds like it's really a good opportunity. Right from it's like the third paragraph of the article, it talks about what populations of users are growing. And I think when we have our discussion about our goals and objectives and update those, that's really important. Like I say the user experience, and I totally agree. We have to meld the user experience with the needs of the course, and I think Bruce and Casey, the idea of getting outside partners is really important. We do that in education, we do that in libraries, we do it many different ways in our town, and those outside partners are absolutely critical. Even having donations and different kinds of ways to give to the course. But when I looked at those three groups of growing users, they're not the traditional golfer that we I think that we kind of market to in many ways or think about. So I would just really like to have like this drill down on that a little bit as we have our conversation to say, who are we? I think about the youth. If we did dynamic pricing for everyone, and the youth now have to come up with that high price to play, we might really be not meeting the goal of having those opportunities of learning golf and expanding their knowledge of the sport and being able to play the sport. So I'd like to really make sure we understand who our users are, and then again look at outside opportunities to generate revenue in ways other than greens fees and just the traditional pattern that we've been using. I think it's exciting. It's an exciting time to think outside the box.
Yeah, I think that this is why I'll go back to my original point that we need to set our goal. We need to know what do we want to be, right? And if we don't set those goals, we can do any number of things. If you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. So I think we should spend some time thinking about it. I also, just to add a few more ideas, I think the pro shop, right? There's huge opportunity, especially now that we're seeing the greens fee piece is going up, which means maybe we're bringing new players into the realm. And Mark and Casey saying we've had new members joining. Merchandise is a big item that I know I've played with some people who have said that they want to get merchandise that's Shinnecock merchandise. And so that would be something that we should consider adding to the pro shop. I like Casey's idea about, working with Great Brook, but I also think that we should have something on site, and we may not be able to do a driving range, full-blown driving range. And as Margaret said, it might be more of a short game pitching and some iron working with people, but maybe convert that to a kids place for helping kids learn, because tying in with Marie's comment that who's our sustaining future growth are the younger generation. So that might be something, and maybe it's a golf academy for the young ones. And a lot of parents are interested in getting their kids start to learn golf at a much younger age. So that might be a niche that we could potentially do. And Casey, your point's well taken that, the residents may not want netting that blocks their view, but there are netting available now that is almost see-through. And so there may be ways that that could be addressed. I don't know enough about this, but it may be something we can explore. So I think, again, going back to fundamentally, if our goal is sustaining the golf course while growing it, making enough profit to ensure that we can maintain and upkeep the golf course, but it's not as a profit entity, for-profit entity that reports in high profit numbers, and giving the golf members an experience that makes them want to keep coming back and bring others to the course. Many of these ideas will really help us get there. But I think we need to add new services and new items that bring in the money, but also bring in the connectivity, the bonding to the course.
I always kind of speak to it as if, because our goals this year for, in our women's league really was around recruiting and making it a good social connectedness, so that we're connected socially, because that's, why many of our women join, is for a social outlook and just, a hobby. And so, the recruiting, when I set the recruiting, that kind of goal, that's when I asked Mark. I said, gee, Mark, can I post stuff? Can I ask Denise and she can post for me? He's like, yeah, sure. Well, that's all I needed. And that's what we got. And we got a ton of members, and then thank goodness we had an ambassador program set this year, because we have 20 new members. So that just melded together to really set our goals. But because we were so goal focused on recruiting, now we have more money. We didn't even really were looking for more money, but we have more money, which was a great problem. And just that social. So we're just really, I agree. I can't agree with you more, Usha, that because when you set goals, then all your activities are around those goals. So it really was, I have Denise in my back pocket, and got her out there on Shoreline taking those pictures. She'll come out again at member guest. So just really making sure all of our new members are connected, so that they're learning. I can't, so many of them right now want lessons, and so I'm sending them to here and there and everywhere. We did lose 2 or 3 golfers to some country clubs. I'm trying to make our women's league like a country club, like Shinnecock. You'll get everything you get. So I interviewed 2 country clubs in our area, and I asked the presidents of those women leagues, what do you offer? Can we, and so that's why I got Shoreline on board, because I want to offer just as much as they offer, because I don't want to lose our members to Great Neck, to Stonington Country Club, Lake of Isles. We're going to lose. We've lost a few. We lost 3 this year, actually, to country clubs. But we're going to continue to lose more if we don't, as kind of a municipal golf course, kind of offer some kind of a range of opportunities for people to grow. So And I do look at our membership. I look at, you know, we have small A, we have small, low handicap people. We have nobody golfing, one person golfing on Saturday and Sunday now. Those are our workers. We're all elderly. Our whole SWGA. Let's face it, I'm one of the youngest ones. So you know, it's so just looking at that, like next year, you know, how can I create that? You know, how can we as an organization kind of tackle that group that I'm missing? I turned away at least a half a dozen people because they're working. And I don't really have a group that are playing on the weekends. So again, just you know, constantly looking at how can we be the best we can? And I know I'm not going to talk anymore, but goal setting is I set a goal, I'm like a dog with a bone.
Mark, I just have a question, just from Madeline's comment about we're all elderly. And but if we look at our own Thrive 55, I would say it's a huge success. And you know, that's serving an elder community. And you know, I know courses all went online today to buy, and people were buying up all over the place. So I'm just wondering, what is it we're doing at Thrive 55 where we're catering to this community? That is there something we could translate over? Um, because of how successful that is and how well that's run and what you do there. I mean, I'm giving you praise about your, you know, it's very good, you know, what happens there and the attitude of how they treat people and what they do. And I don't know if there's some way to take, not that any of those are golfers, but there's an attitude of how you deal with basically the customer, you know, the person who comes there are treated really, really well. And, you know, I think people really enjoy Drive 55 a lot. And it's a certain community. And, you know, I'm just, you know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to say what's the spirit that guides that
Yeah, and I
we can
think,
learn from.
you know, I think Madeline hit on it is, uh, you know, there is such a diversity of programs and services that are offered at Thrive 55 that it reaches and appeals to a lot of different people with different interests. And I think that's a key part of the success, you know, of Thrive 55. You know, this Thrive 55 is not your grandmother's senior center. You know, we we often get recognized for the different programming that we're doing, and I think that's something that could carry over to the golf course. And you know, Madeline talked about it, and I think this is a unique opportunity for us to look at what we're doing, what gaps exist, and you know what we can add to. You know, and Margaret talked about, you know, the player experience from the minute you make the reservation to, you know, to when they're getting in their car and leaving, and trying to make that full experience as positive as we can. And, you know, I think I've been taking a lot of notes, and everybody's been talking about different ways we can touch a golfer, whether it's through changes in the merchandise that we offer, or you know, or having something for uh, the kids to do that are part of a family. I mean, I think there's a lot of ideas that are coming out that we can um, look to, you know, begin to grow and implement as we move forward.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I'll just add something like for the working person who works, let's say they work a Monday to Friday job, a season pass in the end doesn't make a whole lot of sense, except for maybe in the dead of winter. And in particular, like um, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You're working Monday to Friday, maybe you get Friday off in the afternoon. Summer's cool. I've worked all week. I'm gonna get off around 2 or 3. Maybe I can go play golf on a Friday afternoon. Well, no, I can't because, and this is nothing wrong with this, but no, I can't because there's a tournament being played out on the golf course on a Friday afternoon. So Friday afternoons aren't available to me, or any other day in the afternoon because there's leagues out there Monday to Thursday, in the afternoon. So as a working person, I don't have access to that golf course. So then my only times are to play. So, but I still want to have the ability to be considered a participant or joined I want to be a member. I want to be a participant or I want to be a part of it, but I don't necessarily can't, want to join because I don't have those opportunities, especially a 30, 40-year old who may not have their income built up quite yet. And so I've had that discussion with a few, and so their only opportunities are on the weekends, and they may not be able to get out on the weekends because Saturday mornings are taken up, or Sunday mornings are taken up, or there's just limited time. And so I think that's the other thing that we need to kind of take a look at, or they have a young family, and are kind of working their way in that way. But so we just kind of need to maybe think too about some alternative ways to allow people to feel like they're a part of something without necessarily having to outlay a significant amount of money one time a year to be able to participate. And I'm just gonna kind of throw that because that is feedback that I've also gotten.
I would, my answer to that would be, and I think, Margaret, your comment earlier was really good, to the customer experience from the moment they show up to when they go home, is every one of the employee, and I guess Casey would probably be the one who would lead this a little bit, is every employee of the golf course is a research person and listens. And if they start to just write down, they just listen for frustrations. And
Mhm.
the phrase that I have used in when doing product development, that I have done quite a few different products, was, if you hear this phrase, I wish there was. If you hear somebody say, I wish there was a, and if you're not sort of being focused on listening for that phrase, you just kind of ignore it. But if you're every employee from the lowest to ever all the way has their ears tuned to listening to the frustrations and listening to someone saying, I wish there was a way to do X, and you just start recording that information, like, just everybody's trained to listen for that kind of stuff, you will get an enormous list of things. You can whittle that down, put it into categories, and now you have what people want in their golf course. And it's a very powerful phrase, and no one really knows you're doing it. The employees are just tuned to listen to frustrations that people have, because they're certainly being expressed all the time, and you just have to record them and pay attention to them, and it will kind of generate its own pile of, like, oh, we didn't even know that people wanted, this over here or that over there. So it's just I think, Casey, that's probably part of your role, right? I mean, as the golf pro and all that, is to
Yeah,
guide
I
people.
interact with every customer that comes through the door, obviously, and I obviously try to listen to any complaints. Hopefully, we don't get too many, but when I do get one, I try to act on it if I possibly can. Obviously, there's some things at the moment I can't act on. I can make suggestions like on prices or course conditions, which I will relay to Eric if something comes up that they don't like about the course, and uh, trees being removed or not removed, as you guys know, things of that nature. Yes, I try to act on things I can, and obviously the staff here, the ranger and starters, I try to have them treat everybody with respect and nicely if possible, and that's why I train them to talk to people a certain way, especially if there's a situation that they have to deal with. But yeah, obviously that's something to think about and to start taking notes on that. And
I
I
think,
try
yeah,
to, I don't have anything written down, but I do try to act on things I can. Yes.
I would recommend, and acting on them is important, and that's key. I would recommend also write them down.
Yeah.
And you can put it in their phone. Everybody has a phone. You can just make a
Right.
notes page or whatever
Yep.
it is. But they get forgotten really fast because you went and fixed it. So
Right.
you don't
Yeah.
have to. But if you wrote it down, it's just building a database of all of this stuff, and then we can look at that database, and we'll probably see some trends in there and some things that you may not realize that three people are dealing with the same problem.
Yeah.
It's just that you
Yep.
deal with one third of them, and somebody else dealt with another third of them, and someone else dealt with another third of them. And you're like,
Right.
oh, I didn't realize we're all dealing with the same problem. Let's fix that problem or
Yep.
whatever. So that's my recommendation. Just write these things down and collect them, and then we can figure out what to do with them after that you have them.
Okay. Yep. Absolutely.
So to
And
add,
then also go back, Casey, oh, sorry, go back to what you said earlier. I mean, I think coming up with what we want the course to represent.
Right. Yeah. So
Maybe-
it's there. Yeah. I've been here a long time. I came in 97. I went different places and came back. But yeah, I mean, there should be a clear vision of what this place is looking to do and what we're looking to give our customers. I don't see any direction. It seems like we're going in many different kind of directions instead of something. And obviously what I see might be different what you see. So that's why we need to have you know, we need to come together with a committee or something to come out with a vision because like I said, my vision might be different than yours. So there needs to be something that going forward that we can do to have a vision of way the golf course should look in the future. And we don't want to go backwards. We want to go forward in the future. So I think something needs to be
100%.
done in that aspect. That's what I see, at least being here every day, is a clear vision of where we're going.
And I think you have to limit to, like two goals, right? And then be
exactly.
laser focused on two goals and accomplish two goals. And then I always say, oh, we're not working on that this year. Maybe next year we'll work on that goal next year because we can only take on so much, right?
Yeah, right.
And in Casey, I will definitely share. We have 20 new members, and our ambassador chair is actually interviewing them right now. So really getting their feedback on what they liked, what they don't like about the league and about the course. And so we're gonna put that together and see if we can, something we can be better at, but also, something that I'll share about the course that I don't
Yeah.
have any control over, but
Right.
maybe you do. And, that would be some good data.
Yeah,
Some
absolutely.
fresh eyes, right? Fresh eyes on,
Yeah,
hey,
new
we
people
improve?
coming in that
Yeah.
haven't been here for quite a few years and they get a fresh look at the way the operation is, and that'd be nice to see. Yes.
Okay, I'll share.
That'd be excellent, Madeline. What I'd like to just have us think about is, I've been on this board for 4+ years, and I've never been in an in-person meeting. They've all been remote, and I would really kind of welcome, perhaps before the September meeting or shortly after it, that we have an in-person kind of casual and just talk about. I think we have Margaret, 8 or 9 goals or objectives for the course. We keep saying we're going to look at them, but it's been a couple of years since we have. Maybe taking that Madeline's suggestion of let's whittle down, may not even be on the list, but
No, I
an
think at this point, what
in-person,
we're talking about is redoing the goals.
in-person, come up with a 2, 3 goals that would be laser focused on a coordination with many of the aspects that we talked about already tonight, that some that were brought up in the article, some not. But I think an in-person meeting where we can look each other in the eye and see where we stand and really kind of process through what we as the advisory board envision the course to be in its near and far future. So we can all be on board to work towards that. It's hard to do it all online. And I think that.
No, good idea. I like it. That's a good idea.
one other suggestion is we should think about doing 2 or 3 focus groups. Just bring some of the players together and ask about, what's working well, what's not, what would be added value from a member perspective. Have a mix of people that have been here a long time and people who are relatively new. We get a good good all around. And, to your point, Margaret, working people that don't necessarily get to play as much, they still look for that community aspect. And so what kind of events can we do that brings many more people together, regardless of how often they play or how good or bad a player they are? And I feel like we should have an annual event of some sort. That may be a picnic, people bring food to share. We just kind of test that out, because the women's group does it and the men's group does it. But if you're not part of it, for working people, you're not part of that. You don't get to interact in that way. So how do we cultivate that community aspect? So people are interested in continuing to come even or join even when they may not be playing as much.
And Usha, to your point, to make it multi-generational as well.
Yeah, make it
And all the different categories of players that we have.
I go to Advantage Personal Training is the gym I go to, and they do this all the time. They just had in fact, part four was the food truck that came, but they run different events. In fact, they had everything for free. But they have, a run night, they have a gathering, a movie night, they do a food night in the parking lot. They do, just different events exactly around your idea of just trying to build a community, because if you're in the same time slot all the time, you only meet those people in the time slot. And usually when I've gone to these events, I'm like, I don't know any of these people because it's completely different people. So I think that's a very good idea. Figure out, and you have the access to food right on the property. So
Yep.
and you have lots of space and you have parking, you have all the things that you need. It's just out of are there clinics? Do you ever bring in speakers?
I was just going to say that clinics and
To
because
just bring in a speaker, like how to improve your golf skills, how to do whatever, I'm sure you could bring, I don't know if you do that, but you could have training lesson, sessions, or, I don't know. It's kind of wide open that, those are revenue opportunities plus just community building opportunities. So,
exactly. And it's also an attraction for people because it's beyond golf
right.
that they want to be part of it. And the last thought I'll share, which I meant to share earlier, is that the history we have as a Donald Ross course, but also Arnold Palmer, who played here, some of the well-known people have come through here. Let's leverage that. Let's advertise those things, right? And Steve, my husband, always tells me about Arnold Palmer saying this was the fourth hole was the hardest hole that he's ever played. Now, that may or may not be true. He was at the Coast Guard, so he used to play. And so can we leverage some of those things if we can really get a quote or get someone to talk about Shinnecock, or what's already in the literature, in the published domain, pull those out and use that to market ourselves, right? So I do have to sign off. I have a 9 o'clock call on Mondays, first Mondays, so I do need to go get some food before the 9 o'clock.
When is the next, is it September? Is the next
Yes.
September 14th?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
November 14th is the next one.
Yep.
The
Is it-
agenda says September 7th.
Yeah.
Is it
but the-
7th?
I think
Oh,
the 7th.
September
is
7th
Labor
is
Day,
Labor
isn't
Day,
it?
Oh, I
Oh,
won't
it's
be
Labor
there.
Day. Right. It's Labor Day.
The 14th.
Yeah.
the 14th. And then the next meeting after that will be in November.
The 2nd. Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. The only thing that I just want to add real quick so thank you very much for this discussion. I think it was very helpful and productive. Get everybody thinking through the summer. Feel free to ping with emails or any ideas that may come up. Casey, is there anything that we can do to help with the rollout of the new software between
As
now and the 15th?
No, far as that goes, it's pretty much going to be on me to get it all lined up. As far as, I've been talking to Lee, the guy from Club Profit Systems, and everything he's saying so far sounds good. We've right on track to where we're supposed to be, and they're supposed to
Okay.
be coming next week to actually on Monday is when they're supposed to be here, and that first day I'm gonna be here to help them build the T sheet so we make sure that's correct for what we need here. And right now, everything looks like it's on track. I mean, everything looks good.
Okay.
Will we
If
be
you
able
need,
to see a T sheet
Oh
using
yeah,
this? Okay, good.
yeah, yeah. When I was at the Head Pro River Ridge, this is the system we had up there, and it worked really well. Everybody loved it. I don't remember having any issues with it at all. And when we did the demo, when was that, Mark? About a month and a half, 2 months ago at Thrive 55, the demo went really well. I think Marie,
Yes.
you were there.
I
Marie was
was, but it
also
was in
there.
March, middle of
Yeah,
March.
March. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it obviously what we have now is obviously not very good. And the demo that they did was really good and answered all of our questions when they did the demo for us.
And Casey, do we have the means to charge no-shows with that? Especially members, I remember Todd making the comment, if you're a season pass holder, you're not paying for each round.
Mhm.
So you should have every season pass holder's credit card on file.
Yep.
For no-shows, not saying that that's for this year, I'm just thinking ahead.
Yeah, I
Planning.
mean that's definitely something they can do. I was
Okay.
talking to Lee about that, but obviously we're not ready to implement that because we have to come up with a policy to do that and have to decide on what we're going to charge and if we're going to do it. But yes, they can definitely do that.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I just wanted to know that we had the flexibility, should we go down that path?
Yes. Yep.
And who would make that decision? Is that a Mark Barry and Eric and Casey to make the decision? Or I guess my question is, do you need Golf Advisory Board input before September 14th on any policy changes that the new software may offer that you would recommend?
Yeah, I mean, I think my sense from the Golf Advisory Board is that the issue of no-shows needs to be addressed. And the only way that we're going to be able to address that is by gathering credit card information and letting folks know that as of whatever date, and I'm not suggesting that that's going to take place this summer for the season pass holders, but um, I think we would probably come up with a draft policy, share it with the Golf Advisory Board, just to have an extra set of eyes look at it, and then say, okay, yeah, didn't think about this or whatever, and then move forward with implementation. Now, as far as the greens fees, that's something that I think we should implement right away.
And for the season pass holders, with the new system, we'll have some data. And if we can
Yeah,
gather a 3-month slice of data, that gets us to know whether, it's a marginal number, which is how Todd felt that it was very, very low, or
right,
it's substantial enough that this is worthwhile. So I
right.
think we can use that data to really guide us as to whether we should implement that this year or wait. If it's marginal, it's not worth aggravation of getting everybody's credit card into the system.
Right. Yep.
and you'll be able to see that if everybody's swiping in. So,
Yeah, and we could do that next year, as an alternative for season members. Next year, when they pay, that their credit card is taken at that point when they renew their membership. So it's
Right.
not additional work for the staff.
Yeah.
I have a question, and Casey, maybe you know the answer to this question. I'm just watching how they're rolling out the speed cameras that they're putting in around like work zones and things, which is sort of implementing across Connecticut in different places. And they're doing a warning initially, where if you go, you get a warning, and that goes for a period of time, and then after that, you get a bill. And
Yep.
so I don't know whether that software has the ability to say, just like I get notices now from my dentist that if you don't show up, you're paying for this. And just a number that I asked my dentist recently because I go to the dentist a lot. I said, because they put a lot of effort in these in sending out notices, are you showing up, being sure, confirm you're going to show up. I said, how many people don't show up for their dental appointments? And they said 25% don't show up
Wow.
for their dental appointments. So
Wow.
they because I noticed now that they all seem to have, I mean, my dentist clearly made some kind of software update to change how they communicate, but you get a lot of notices like, remember you have a dentist appointment, remember it's coming up, you're coming, right? And it comes in a frequency, and I don't know whether this software has the ability to remember you have a golf match, you have a golf date. Are you coming to the golf date? That maybe you can reel them in. But so I guess those are my two questions. Is there ability to communicate over a period of time that you have set up an appointment, set up a tea time, and is there a way of doing a warning if you sort of implement some kind of a fee that says, you know, this is the warning shot. Next time we will be charging you, so that they get accustomed to the as opposed to just boom, they fell off a cliff and now why am I getting these charges? Like you were made well aware of them. So
Yeah, well, I know they can charge no show fee, but I don't know that part of it. If they have a warning, which I would assume you could come up with something to send out. But I do know that they can charge no shows, but I don't know, what kind of warning they have, or if they have like a one strike policy or something like that. I'm not sure about that.
all right. And then reminders. Can you send out reminders for people who have signed up online? Can they get
Right. But whatever we do going forward for that, we need to have obviously a clear policy, because you're on a fine line there with people, because like I just worked Saturday and we were booked solid Saturday, and the forecasts up till like 2 days before was nice. And as all of you know, Saturday it was blowing about 50 miles an hour, and it was a wind chill of about 35 or 36 out here. And our really nice day turned out to be like half the people showed up because it was absolutely freezing, and the people that went out were miserable, and some of them quit. So obviously, things like that you can't foresee is a difficult situation. So we need to come up with a clear policy for things like that, which is
Right.
unusual. And I'd hate to lose customers because it was great 2 days ago when I booked the tea time. It was supposed to be 75 and beautiful, and now it's almost sleeting and miserable out here, and you're going to charge me a fee. So we have to come up with some kind of policy for that kind of stuff.
kind of an act of God clause?
Something like that, yeah. But I mean, I would be upset if I had made the tea time as a regular greens fee person on, like, say, Wednesday, and oh yeah, it was supposed to be gorgeous Saturday night. Come here and it's blowing 50 and it's raining sideways, and they're still going to charge me. So that's something we have to look at.
Yeah.
Always needs to be exceptions, of course.
Right. Absolutely.
Casey, I remember from the demo that the question was asked about leagues. So right now, for example, we might say, well, the women's league needs, space for 34 players or something
Right.
on
Yep.
Tuesday morning, but we
Mhm.
don't give the names until, a half hour before we women show up. I come in early and get the tee sheet. But I think that kind of doesn't really support the idea of no-shows. And
Right.
we had some discussion about what will the course need from the leagues and other groups that expect X number of
Mhm.
player
Right.
positions, yet they only come up with, some percentage less than that.
Right.
How you
Well,
deal with it? You associate a name with a tee time for the leagues, or
right.
kind of bundle it as we do now.
Yeah. Well, I know like the EB league that like they just played this afternoon. We know exactly how many players they have every night, that league, and that is very consistent. They never waver far as that. Now, the women's league, Madeline, as you know, you get calls or emails in the morning, like you might have, if the weather's iffy, you get calls or emails that morning that ladies cancel or don't want to play in that weather. So that's another thing. Like I said, we have to figure out what we're going to do in that aspect.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, we always, yeah. I mean, someone's sick or whatever, we get a
Right.
few, but not that many.
Yeah. So going forward, we'll just have to figure out the best policy to handle for that kind of stuff.
Mhm. And we do get an email now when we book.
Yeah. 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 You do now. Yes.
I don't think we get reminders, but we get the one.
Yeah. You don't get a reminder, but yeah, you do get the email confirmation. Yeah. There's a box at the bottom that I check when I make a reservation, like on phone, or, when you make it online, you get the confirmation. Yes.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, just whether that software can send a reminder, I don't know. Bruce, that'd be a question for the software.
Yeah, that's something to ask them if it just.
Oh, I just wrote it on my list.
Good job. Good. Yeah.
All right,
All right.
I'm gonna sign off, Margaret.
Okay, no, we're gonna adjourn here, I think.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good evening.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care.
Night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good
Night.
summer.
Are you looking for a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn,
Second,
Who made it?
Bruce.
Madeline.
Bruce.
Oh,
Madeline.
Madeline,
Bruce. Well,
second by
Madeline
Bruce.
and then Bruce second. Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
got it.
Again, all right.
That's at
We're adjourned
7:38.
7:38.